let you go, and I said his name before, Mike Ryan is the Senior Vice President of Madison Performance Group. What do you think about what Mike Tobin is reporting right now?
He's absolutely right. We talk to hiring managers every day. When you look at the data, there's 2.5 million jobs that have gone unfulfilled. These are job postings where companies are being highly selective looking for recruits.
So when Mike Tobin says, I have two mics here, when Mike Tobin says that, you know, $60,000 to $80,000, college students are not qualified, I mean, Mike, that's a big number.
Harris, companies want people with specific skill sets. They have the luxury of being selective right now because in many business environments, they are still not certain that they've maxed out their current employee base. In other words, they're still getting high levels of productivity from existing employees.
Well, and who wants to be the one employee who says, I just can't get it done, and then they have to go out and hire somebody else? So we're all hanging on, gripping to the jobs we have. Mike Tobin, I have a quick question for you. What about job expos and job fairs?
Well, you know what's interesting is they are doing job expos and job fairs and gearing those toward the high school students, recruiting the high school students. They're loading up the school bus and taking them to the job expos and job fairs and explaining to the high schoolers that this is an option. You can start making an income right out of high school. Make your choice. You know, you can make your choices now.
Very interesting. And if they get enough money and they can reserve their resources, they can always go to college. And then you have a situation where maybe they won't have to take out those monster loans. I'm just trying to think ahead. I mean, if there's an opportunity to make $80,000 a year, who's going to turn that down?
Not too many people.
Not too many
people. Better than my first TV job.
It's better than my fourth TV job. Well, anyway.
Yeah.
Mike Tobin, thanks for sticking along for extra conversation today. Skippy Smart Man.
All right, Merry Christmas.
All right.
To both of you and to Mike. And by the way, it's okay to call me Tobin. There are too many Mikes running around in the world.
I like that. You can call me Faulkner. Okay, thanks.
All right. See you, Faulkner.
All right. Mike Ryan, let's extend our time with you. I appreciate you playing along there with Tobin. I like that. This is a huge problem if there are 2.5 million jobs sitting out there, and it is more likely that a high school student might be able to get one of those than a college-educated person with a whole lot of years of experience.
Well, the other side of it, too, is that, you know, the labor market obviously is a very fluid thing. And what we're seeing at Madison Performance Group with companies that are in the knowledge-based business, not necessarily the manufacturing side, which Mike was talking about, but with people that come to work every day with a set of skill sets that need to be applied to complex business issues, what they're seeing is that they're getting increased productivity out of those folks. So they're not necessarily focused on replacing them just yet. So they're taking their time. When they're looking for additional help, they're going directly to competitors and poaching their top people.
Poaching. And so that doesn't create job opportunities, though, because that means that people just kind of jump around from job to job.
It creates churn. And the folks that are unemployed right now will benefit from it at some point. But right now what you have literally is a game of musical chairs.
Yeah, a game of churn over is not the game of turnover. Because in churn, it could take years for there to be, oh, we move Pete to Paul to Sam to Sally to whatever, and then suddenly it's like musical chairs. You're waiting for the chair to open up.
Well, that's why when you look at the the job numbers today, the headline number obviously is the 120,000 net new jobs. But if you break that down, Harris, there's 140,000 new jobs coming out of the private sector. And when you take the adjustments that were made for the prior 2 months, we really created close to 240,000 new jobs over a 3-month period. Now, that's not nearly enough to keep pace with the change in the demographics of the population.
Well, clearly not.
But it is helpful. But the other side of it that you see, too, that's really interesting is within those numbers, there was over 4 million new hiring events per month taking place. So you see organizations going after new employees. That's creating opportunities downstream. But again, that particular growth is slow to...
It's slow, and I doubt that they're $80 grand a year. Dwight Cavanis writes, I thought we were in the tech generation.
We are, actually. As a matter of fact, when you look at some industries that are having problems finding qualified skills workers, it's in high-tech manufacturing. It's in organizations where manufacturing employees actually come to work and work computers every day.
And I should correct myself. Dwight made that as a statement, not as a question. DL writes, Americans are good people who want to work. The tech generation has taken away some jobs, and then the government made it easier to send those jobs abroad.
That's absolutely correct, too. What you've seen is a lot of organizations during the downtime is they farmed out some jobs overseas, obviously, but automation is taking a big role in increasing productivity.
Can you read this right? There are jobs out there. It's the Americans who just can't do the job. We are just bad people. No, that's not true. But that's what Can You Read This says. Live chat right now, if you want to get in on the conversation. It sits just beneath the live box in which you're watching us in now. You can get in through one of the social networking pages. And then there's in addition here, tech and computer generation. Yeah, computers too.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know that the big question that we get asked a lot from folks that are looking for work is what can I do to distinguish myself in the process? And one of the things that we've seen companies do is to focus on creating what they call an integrated brand, where the actions and attitudes of their employees, no matter what they do, reflect the brand's promise in the marketplace. So if you're a potential employee and you're being interviewed by one of those organizations, try to get a sense for how they value themselves, both internally and externally. Do they consider themselves innovative? Do they put a lot of emphasis on teamwork? Chances are most organizations do that, but during the interview process, you will be smart to bring to the table examples of how you've done that in the past, and I think that will help distinguish you.
Wow, that's great advice. Thank you very much. So not only can you talk about people who don't have jobs, you can help us get one.
Well, you know, it's a very competitive market out there.
Yeah, it is very competitive. And it's competitive even if you have the right skills, because the right skills seem to be changing now. Well, they used to be computer and tech as much. Now maybe they're more shop class, like what Tobin said.
Well, keep in mind, too, that November was a very volatile month. You know, we had the European debt crisis, which tanked the markets there for a 2-week period. You had organizations still waiting to see what happens from a tax perspective. So I'm optimistic that December will be much better.
All right. Mike Ryan, always good to have you. Thank you.